G'day, g'day, everyone out there. My name is Dozza. This is the Happy Hour. And g'day to Hex Enthusiast and 43.
How you going, fellas?
Very well, thanks, mate. Just cracked my first beer of the day, my invisible beer.
Yeah, I'll get mine.
I've got mine.
Oh, what beer?
Nice.
I've got a real beer here. I'm drinking a Peroni Leggera, which is a sort of
you got to be kidding.
mid-strength. My favorite beer to be drinking because it's 0.9 of a standard drink, so it's very easy to just gauge where you're at.
If you drink one per hour, then it's like it never happened.
Exactly.
Is that how it works? Because it's like one standard drink per hour. So, and then
two in the first hour.
Exactly. There you go, bro. Do you know what? I am Devo because you started the Peroni gang, and I joined you in some sort of like 2-man conga line of like getting the Peroni gang started, and then I started drinking Peronis for weeks on end. And you were just like, what Peroni gang? Bro, I never agreed to this. And you were just drinking waters. So now Hex Enthusiast and I started the Super Dry gang.
Yeah, that's it.
So
it's okay.
And, 43, does it matter what the percentage is if the keys aren't in the ignition?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, mate.
Not in your ignition, because day 43.
By the way, my keys are
driveway.
The keys are in my ignition. But you know what? If I was on the road and the keys were in the ignition, this would be it would actually be a criminal offence in Australia. In Victoria, to actually have the keys in the car, have the keys in the ignition, even if I'm not driving, if I'm just parked, have the keys in the ignition and be drinking, even if I'm under the limit, it's still an offence to do that. So, but I'm safe because I'm on my own property, so they can all go and finger themselves in the bunghole.
Right. You're not streaming in someone else's driveway again, are you?
No. That's correct. That is right.
That's right. We made a good joke about that. That was funny. So how was everyone's Christmas? Was it okay?
Speaking of bungholes, by the way, we'll segue over the Christmas in a second, but
let's get the important stuff.
Someone just sent me a picture of some guy on Twitter, some crypto guy who was like just showing off his wife's bunghole on Twitter. Now, I don't.
Thank you for
I'm not down.
That with us.
No, I'm sharing it just because I just want people to keep their shit straight. Like, don't do that. That is just, don't fucking do that, man.
And a list of things not to do. Don't do that. Yeah, that's not.
Don't do that. Yeah, keep that to yourself, eh? Some things are better.
Peronis.
He's not drinking Peronis, that guy. No, definitely not.
He's in a different gang. I'm not sure what that gang is, but there's something else involved. There's no Peronis. Yes. So Christmas, apart from that unpleasantness, how was your Christmas? Now, my Christmas was actually fairly unpleasant as well, because I ended up getting the dreaded vid, which maybe I shouldn't name, but got over it okay. So as long as I don't cough up a lung, I should be all right. But nice.
You seem pretty good.
Yeah, well, see, I'm normally fairly terrible anyway, so as it kind of evens out. So it's like you can't really tell if you feel rubbish most of the time. You're like,
what kids do to you, isn't it?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I'm pretty sleep deprived most of the time. So, but no, all good now. So, but how about you guys? How was your Christmas?
Yeah, mine was pretty good. Busy as everyone with families. It's just crazy stuff. And we had a big thing going on with our church. So I spent a whole day dressed up as a shepherd and
oh wow,
and nursing a lamb. So that was good fun doing stuff with my family. So I shaved. I let it go for about 2 weeks, which doesn't do much, but tried my best.
Nice. Was it a real lamb? Did you bring a real lamb?
Yeah, we took We took 2 of ours.
Nice.
One we had to send home because it wasn't too happy, too noisy.
Yeah, no doubt.
No doubt. They live in a paddock, and then we took them out.
That's the old showbiz saying. That's the old showbiz saying. Never work with lambs and children.
Exactly. So no, it was good fun. It was good, eventful. So yep.
Cool, man. Sounds like fun.
They are fun. Like they're fun to go look at. Like when churches put on that stuff. When I was in Sicily, they do that stuff all the time because they're very church. Like, you know, the whole community is very revolves around the church. So every Christmas and every Easter, they have these. What are they called? They're like
nativity.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what they call it in Sicily. Presepio, something like that. And then they've just got all that stuff. Like they've just got like all traditional type foods that they're just making on the spot. They're like got the flatbreads and they're with oil on it. I don't know how much. I don't know how much that has to do with like Jesus being born, but they're selling them and they're making some money. So I guess they taste good.
Making a celebration of it. Yeah.
Oh, look, I love any kind of meat on a spit, like lamb, beef, pork on a spit, goat.
As long as it's not falafel, I've heard. From what I've heard.
Well, turns out, I didn't know what a falafel was. I got so stitched that night. I was still spewing that falafel.
Yeah,
I thought it was a kebab. Yeah. No. The Aussie crew know what I'm talking about. At the end of the night, you just want a dirty kebab. And that's what everyone's thinking. And they're like, falafel? And we're like, what's that?
You don't want a dirty falafel. You don't want a dirty falafel.
That's something else.
You want dirty.
a dirty Sanchez. That's the Mexican version. I don't know if you want that.
Well, apparently that's what this. That's.
I don't even know what that is. But it sounds bad.
You don't know what that is. You don't know what the dirty Sanchez is.
Tell me. I don't know what it is. I don't want to know. You've already like.
Well, I feel a responsibility right now. I feel a responsibility right now, but I won't because this is. I'll just tell you like after.
Just put it in the private chat. Just like
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you don't know what a dirty Sanchez is.
There's certain things.
And by the way, you don't need to know it, but you're gonna know it.
Oh god!
It's like you were saying that you were on. I was watching you guys on the Late Show the other day, and you're talking about you read those morbid knowledge stuff on.
Yes.
And then it's like, and then it creeps you out, and it's like, bro, stop reading it, like block it, and then stop. Like you're like
I need to just stop it.
By, damn, it keeps showing me all this stuff I don't want to see. Oh well, what's up next? Like,
so clearly the algorithm is noticing that I'm spending like time reading it. Like I'm opening it up and reading it, and then it gives me more of it. But I don't want any of it. It's like, that's like
me with fight videos. That's like me with fight videos on Twitter. I start watching a few fight videos and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. That guy got messed up. And I should have had his hands up, and then like after a while, my whole feed just becomes people just getting mugged or something. And I'm like, what's happening here? And I have to start muting stuff. And then I was like, why am I following like violent fights? Oh, that's right. So anyway, don't do it.
There's only so many deaths. There's only so many deaths, like senseless deaths I want to see every day. And it's usually a day. And Twitter seems to think I want to see like 15 or 20 of them. I really don't want to see any of them.
That's right. One or two, but let's just keep it to a
minimum. Sprinkle one in, and once or twice a month you can throw one in just to keep me on my toes, but I don't need them every day.
Yeah. I just like them as like a cautionary tale of what not to do. Like if you see sometimes there's like industrial accidents or like explosions in the workplace or whatever, and you see like people who are just doing dumb shit, and you're like, oh, don't do that. That whole thing's gonna
like
fall.
That guy, that guy on the forklift, the guy on the forklift that just knocks over one leg of the corner of that whole factory. You know which one I'm talking about, and just knocks down a whole factory. Like it's fucking huge. It is the
or something. It was something.
It's what?
Something. Coke or something. And the pallets.
He just destroys the whole. You can't if you go to Google. And someone had to have died in that for sure.
Well,
crazy.
I hope not.
Anyway, let's hope not. In the spirit of Christmas, it's still almost Christmas.
So 43, how was your Christmas?
Just watching
My-
5 videos and
Watching
people getting murdered.
trying to avoid all the snuff videos on Twitter. No, with family, of course, and it was good fun. I got to dress up as Santa Claus, which I'm starting to question, whether that is because I walked in and the 4 oldest kids just all shouted out my name immediately. And I'm just questioning. I'm just like, shh, have we taught you nothing? Like, just shh, trying to keep them down, because they all know that they're supposed to be like, they're in on the lie now. They're in on it. They know, they know that I'm dressing up as Santa. The 3 youngest have no idea yet. They have no idea. They're looking at my youngest daughter is looking at me like she knows me, but she's like doesn't know me. You know that look when they're, so
it's almost like if they give it up too soon, then they might miss out on what comes with it as well. So they sort of just sit on the side of whether they actually admit it or not. That's what I've found with ours.
Well, they do. Yeah, that's the thing. They play along. Sorry, mate. Go on.
I have thought about this. No. I have thought about this a little bit. I think somehow kids justify all sorts of things because they know that they want the presents, right? So that's the end game. So when they see the Santa at the shopping center and it looks slightly different to the other Santa that's at the other shopping center, and then they see you as just of a Santa, and then they just know like you're not the real Santa. So it's like, that's okay, but these other Santas still give me stuff, and I think they somehow justify it in their mind. I don't know if they're thinking that they're exactly the same person. I don't know.
Are we helping kids by doing this? Is the real question. Are we helping kids in their life? It is straight out lying to them. Straight out.
That's a conversation maybe for another day. Like I have feelings about. I always try and just tell the truth to my children. So it's sort of like you end up doing this language where you sort of say, that could be how it works, and yes, that might be what you think it is, but you're never actually saying yes, that's what it is. Like you're saying, you give the possibility, but you got to be very careful with your language, because I try not to actually lie to my children straight up. So but yeah, I try and do that.
Yeah, no, I don't either, but
like, it's just easier to be like, just tell the truth, and then
I agree.
That's not how I would do it, but maybe that's how it is. How does that work? I don't know. And
I'm just questioning whether the whole dressing up as Santa is something I should be doing. But then I see how much they get excited by it.
Yeah.
They get excited.
Yeah, I think sort of living in our sort of woke, environment we are these days, we're a lot more aware of things that are going on as well. Even with putting a kid like on Santa's lap or something, everyone's more aware now. Hang on, like, is that actually the right sort of thing to be doing? I don't know. We've been having conversations in our house this year about that. So
yeah, look, I think every parent needs to make their own decisions. Shout out to Claz in the chat there.
G'day.
Shout out to Claz.
Yes. Oh, and another quick shout out to Claz. She's doing a stream with Stokesy as well tomorrow.
Yes, that's what I was.
Killer.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's tomorrow morning, my time at 11 in the morning, so I can't wait.
So
yes. Also, if anyone else is in the chat, let us know. Put some kangaroos in the chat or something, and say hello.
Doza, can I ask you? Can I ask you, Doza? Is there any inside knowledge on what sorts of things I'll be talking about?
Yes, there always is. There always is.
I have one thing I would love Stokesy to address. One thing. And that thing is with regards to liquid loans. He is a big supporter of liquid loans, which is nothing wrong with that. That's great. Liquid loans is fantastic, right? But he's also a support. Well, maybe not a supporter, but a follower of ATO guidance. He's like, I've heard him say many times, ATO guidance, that is what we're following what, what they say on the ATO guidance. Now, the ATO guidance is saying that borrowing money in crypto is a taxable event. So doing that swap for Pulse, it's like on lending. If you go to lending, it says that. Now that's not technically, that's not, look, technically it's not the law, right? It's not the law.
Yes.
But it is the ATO guidance. So they could decide that they want to do enforcement, want to do regulation by enforcement. Right. So my question to Stokesy would be, and listen, if you haven't got time or anything, if you've got time at the end, just try and slip this one in, see what he says. But if you haven't, no stress.
That's a hard one, because I agree with what you're saying. Like, just updating the ATO website doesn't actually change any laws. So if you're following the law, then you should do it in the way that you think that you're following the law, and always follow, a proper tax accountant's advice. But they just follow the guidance, though. The guidance.
They just follow the guidance.
They tend to.
So
I do as well. I've always done that. I just follow whatever it says on the ATO.
You just follow the guidance. Yep.
That way, if you ever get audited, you can say, where did you get this stuff for a home office or whatever? It's like, I use the home office calculator on the ATO website. It's like, here it is, and here's the report that you guys gave me. And then that way, it's like, it's not just you just making up numbers, It's like you can actually say, I've followed your guidance. So yeah, I would always recommend that. So yeah, it does put people in a bit of a pickle, I guess, if they're using the
just because I saw him on a stream with Crypto Crazy talking about liquid loans, and it's just something that I haven't heard any of either him or Crypto Crazy address. But it's a pretty recent addition to the website, and it's about the same time that liquid loans has come out. So it should be I think he should, since he's talked about this sort of stuff so much, like, I'd love to hear his what he thinks about this particular this situation specifically.
I've seen you lurking in the chat, 43, on the Stokesy streams, and asking things like that. He seems to beat around the bush on it a little bit, that particular question, but everything else he says that he stays exactly in line with the guidelines and his accountant. So I reckon his answer, and especially on stream, would be to do what they say to do by the guidelines. But whether or not people do as they say in public, who knows? If he, that's the thing, because if that's the way to use it, then essentially my reading of it would be that it sort of makes using it in Australia, it's like you can't really use it in Australia then, because you just got taxable events every time you interact with it. So it just wouldn't make sense,
Look, I think this is the page that you're talking about here, and I can put this in the chat, and this is from the ATO website, lending and borrowing with DeFi. And it was relatively recent changes, so people should check it out. But yeah, a lot of people disagree. I know Jexa fully disagrees, and he has got like a different opinion. So each to their own. Like,
I disagree, dude. I disagree with it as well. By the way, let's not. I disagree with almost all the shit that they say there, but I still pay my taxes according to it, right? But I disagree with almost all of it, and I've had, I'm not going to say arguments, but I've argued with my accountant over this stuff for hours, and I've paid them while they argue with me over it. And I'm like, you're basing your whole thing on your whole position. You're basing it on guidance, and you're not basing it on like a likeness test, But it's I'm just making myself pay more in fees by arguing with them, really.
Yeah. Look, I think there's a lot of things that we could disagree with the way that the ATO works, or but just because we disagree with it, it's unfortunately, we still work within that system, so we sort of have to follow the rules. But yeah, I was going to say a couple of things that sort of kind of on topic, is that with crypto, you know, the thing is that one of the things that makes it, you know, one of, I guess, the tenets of crypto is that it's censorship resistant. And just recently, I think I saw it. India has just banned a bunch of exchange. Let me just pull it up here. India has just banned 9 crypto exchanges. So Binance, Kraken, all these exchanges here. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. This is like today. So I guess it's sort of like that whole ethos that we're talking about, where, you know, you got to do the right thing, and you know, you got to pay taxes and all that sort of stuff. But you also want to have your crypto keys in your possession, your own self-custody of your own keys, so that if your people and, you know, governments and things like that can't just switch off your money effectively. And like, I think that sort of core tenet of crypto is, I think, basically, apart from price go up, that's obviously like why we're all here. We're all in it for the jet skis. But it's like that core tenet of crypto that it can't be, your money can't just be shut off by anyone, and that sort of freedom to transact, I think, is sort of behind it. And when governments start to do this sort of stuff, just banning exchanges, it really highlights the importance of key self-custody. I mean, you could probably use VPNs or something to get around this sort of stuff, but it does sort of show that, yeah, it's important that you are in control of your own keys and not in the hands of middlemen like exchanges.
And it shows how important DeFi actually is. The fact that DeFi, you know, there are contracts that can do swapping, that you know, and there are very, like, the decentralized entities involved in those contracts really can't stop you know, you interacting with them.
Yeah, it's like a peer to contract to peer thing. So you're only relying on the code or the contract rather than a person. And as long as the code has been audited, then you feel a bit more comfortable. And so part of this whole theme of censorship resistance is, I guess, this Nakamoto coefficient thing. So I know I've been harping on about this for a while, but good news, everybody. PulseChain is finally listed on this site. So apparently our Nakamoto coefficient is 6. Like, it's not the best in the world, right? But it's not the worst either. So one thing I noticed is that, you know, I noticed this from the start, actually, that Ethereum's number was very low. Like, it was 2 before, and now is only 1. And so the Nakamoto coefficient, just because I have talked about this in the past, but I think it is just as a refresher for anyone else. So it's the smallest number. So it's this idea that Nakamoto coefficient is a measure of the smallest number of independent entities that can act collectively to shut down a blockchain. So on a typical proof of stake network, the Nakamoto coefficient defined by the number of node operators that together control more than 1/3 of all stakes on the network. So simply put, the higher the Nakamoto coefficient on the network, the more resilient the network will be to these kind of attacks. And the more resilient the network is to these kind of attacks, the more decentralized and censorship resistant it is. So it is a metric of decentralization and a metric of censorship resistance. And so the reason why I wanted to have our, PulseChain included on this site, because now we have an empirical, like a metric where we can actually say that PulseChain is more decentralized than Ethereum and more censorship resistant than Ethereum and Polygon, for that matter, and anyone else that has a slightly lower number than 6. So it's not to say it's the most decentralized chain and the most censorship resistant chain, but you could argue that it's more decentralized and more censorship resistant than Polygon, and Ethereum. So as like a bragging factor, because people know Ethereum and Polygon, for example, and they assume that because Ethereum has like a shit ton of validators, that it's more decentralized, it's the most decentralized. But you know, if you actually look at some of the, you know, who owns the nodes, and I think I've got a an article here somewhere. Oh yeah, here we go. Let me just pull this up. Okay, yeah. So 40% of Ethereum proof of stake nodes are controlled by 2 addresses. So this is analysis from Sentiment, 46%. And yeah, so this isn't talking about like cloud-based, you know, Amazon Web Service or, you know, cloud services and things like that, because that's a separate issue. But this is just to say that a lot of these Ethereum nodes are owned by the same person. Yeah. And so if you go back to that sort of, you know, how many entities control more than 1/3 of the stakes, in Ethereum's case, it's literally 1. So they may have more validators than us, but as a metric of decentralization using the Nakamoto coefficient, PulseChain is actually more decentralized and more censorship resistant than Ethereum. So that idea, I know it's sort of cherry picking a little bit, and I understand like it's still not the most decentralized out there or the most censorship resistant network out there. But it's still a good bragging factor to sort of say, you know, if you care about why crypto was invented, then PulseChain is more censorship resistant than Ethereum, you know, more decentralized than Polygon.
Yeah, especially since it's a fork of Ethereum. You know,
go ahead.
Yes,
true.
So
the consensus, exactly. So the consensus is exactly the same as Ethereum in terms of all the audits that Ethereum has. We've inherited because it's just a hard fork, and so, you know, all of our consensus is the same, but it's just in the way that we have all these, you know, David Feeder is going out there putting out all these hardware nucs, you know, validators out there. So yeah, I think that's a really good win for the home team to be able to sort of use that as like a bragging factor, because I've heard a lot of people talk smack about, you know, Nakamoto coefficient for PulseChain and this and that, and it's like, this is the first time I've ever seen anyone actually calculate it like properly using and this is an independent person, this is not a hexagon that's done this. Corky, shout out to Corky, who has actually gone through with the code and updated and put in a pull request on the GitHub so that they could include PulseChain. But yeah, it's taking the data from APIs, from PulseChain APIs, and all the validated information. Like, it's legit data. It's not just like pulling a number out of thin air. So yeah, so I feel like that's like a bit of a win that we can use
not to be gate kept in, you know, in all things. Getting the name out there in some ways is really good, and eventually we get a breakthrough with more. So no, it's good effort.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I mean, like I said, India just banning all these exchanges, it's censorship resistance is important, and obviously with Richard Hart, you know, doing his Christmas sort of you know, video the other day, and he was highlighting that about how, you know, we can run our own nodes, we can host our own nodes, host our own IPFS links, we can run the bridge, we can run the DEX, we can run everything locally, and it just makes us more resistant to potential future censorship. So yeah,
I like the way he spelled all that out to everyone. Even new people would have been able to understand that and see the trust in it. Even talking about the whole thing of getting a signing, you know, by Microsoft or whatever just to be able to make it not come up as spam or, you know, give you an
Yeah,
alarm.
it just
like, well,
requires you to.
Yeah. Once you get your head around that, a lot of people would feel better about it, but it's not, you know, explained as clearly as that all the time. So yeah, it was good to hear it straight from him, because he says those things, explains it so well in the simple terms for people as well. So
for sure. No, I really liked that video. I watched it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Have we lost 43, or is he?
I'm listening. I'm here.
Sorry,
I'm listening
You're
to you
just
guys.
listening. That's cool. I was just
I'm
on this
listening.
massive monologue for ages. I thought, oh no, I've like put you to sleep.
No, I'm here. No, I was waiting for us to, you know, touch on the Richard Hart video, which is quite significant because we haven't heard from him in a significant way, apart from like in a video. We haven't heard from him for a little while. We did get that audio file a little while back, maybe a month or two ago.
Awesome as well.
And his tweets, like some of his, you know, tweets in relation to the legal stuff have been quite detailed and you know, extremely interesting. But that video that he uploaded,
that was park, didn't he? Yeah.
Especially the second half, where he got off like just the regular stuff and just got into the legal side of things and started talking about the SEC and Gary Gensler. I found that the most interesting. Like, and I've had to go back and listen to that a couple of times. But what was the most interesting thing that I felt was the argument that he was making in relation to airdrops, and then automatically being liable for tax on airdrops if you have knowledge of the seed words, and then tying that back to government entities, and then the people who have knowledge of those seed words, like in those government agencies, and whether they have a taxable like where they need to pay tax on the fact that they know those. So I thought that was a very, very a very clever way to go about that. Very interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really interesting concept, and I know we've talked about this similar concept before, but I think anyone, particularly Hexicans, who understands how crypto works, and it's like, you have a wallet, you know, a MetaMask or whatever, Rabby wallet, but the coins aren't in the wallet. Like, the coins are on the blockchain. So these are just keys that you can update a ledger on the blockchain, right? So that address that you may have access to, people can airdrop whatever the hell they want, malicious tokens, things like that. And so if you've got like 1 billion malicious tokens in there, and they all have, you know, some value, because, you know, as you know, like, if you have like a liquidity pool with just, you know, 2 coins in it, and there's like, you know, so much value, you couldn't actually get that value out of it. But on paper, like, it might say that there's $1 million worth of liquidity on there. But this, I'm not going to go into that too much. But so if you're like a tax calculator or something like that, and you're scraping data from wallets, it may seem like there's heaps of money in this wallet, but you're like going, no, these are malicious tokens. I can't access these. I can't sell these tokens if I wanted to, because they'd literally just drain my wallet. So then it becomes a question of like, do you own those coins or not? Just because someone, you know, do you have value or dollars in that wallet just because someone has airdropped you, you know, malicious tokens? And then
which they could make worth a lot of money by just selling one for, you know, $10 and then have a trillion of them. But the liquidity pool is very, very thin, and you know, but you know, you might get dropped, you know, 1 billion of them, so it looks like you've got $10 billion just because. You know what I mean? Like, so it's an absurd one for you. But it's a good point, because it's an absurd way to go about it. It's an absurd thing. It's like saying, okay, someone delivers some junk mail into your letterbox, and that junk mail, right, is a unique piece of junk mail which is worth $1 billion. Why?
Yeah.
Because someone we don't know somewhere decided that it's worth $1 billion. Why are we giving them the authority to tell us that?
It's like when you get in the mail and there's like $100 note it's like a fake $100 note, and they've got like some thing on it, and you're going, what? I don't want to buy curtains from you. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah, and then he went into the you know, the whole thing about derivation paths and how, you know, how deep it goes, and the halting problem, which was interesting. I went and looked that up, and that's something I didn't know about. I thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah, so it's that idea that just because you have knowledge of the seeds, so yeah, do you own the contents of that wallet? And then, like, so if wallets have been confiscated and people in government have seen seeds for certain wallets, like, you know, we're talking Silk Road wallets or whatever, are they then liable because they've seen the seeds?
Well, by their very own definitions, yes, they are. By their very own definitions, they are, and that's the whole point of that argument, you know. And it's a very good argument because it means that they shoot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, they shot themselves in the foot a lot, and you know, RH was saying, like, the whole thing about Gary Gensler saying that he is not acting on behalf of the SEC with some of his comments, and it's like, well, then who are you acting on behalf of? If it's not the SEC, you must be acting on behalf of yourself. And if you're manipulating markets, then you are personally responsible. So, and you know, RH is very careful with his language, but sometimes some of these guys like Gensler are not. And it's like, well, you might open yourself up to personal damages, you know, because they're affecting markets, like worldwide markets. Severely.
I thought that, exactly. But like, I thought out of all the things that he mentioned, that point about seed words and the knowledge of them is, I believe, something that's similar to what we have in Australia. You know, it's a similar sort of idea that, you know, I'm not sure if it's knowledge of seed words or is enough to do it. And I guess no one can really prove that. You know, it's you've got plausible deniability. But I guess the reason I thought that was so important, because it was relevant to us also in Australia, and a lot of the other stuff is not. Like, a lot of the other stuff, when they talk about freedom of speech, freedom to transit, but we don't actually have those freedoms because we don't have a constitution that lays them out in that way. We have them in a different way. You know, we have them in a different way, but they're not laid out in the same way. You know, you know, we don't actually have rights as such. You know.
So I mean, that's part of like what I was talking about before, where it's like, it's up to you, it's up to the user to make sure that you custody your own keys and things like that. Like, don't wait on, like, because you may not have rights like in the future, you know, don't wait for exchanges to get banned, like and things like that. So and they've already started like limiting how much money you can put into exchanges, and it's only a matter of time before they start limiting how much you can take out from them as well. So but just quickly, I just wanted to say, I saw this US Congressman Emma co-signs bill to fire SEC Gary Gensler. So this is today, 28th. Oh no, or yesterday.
Oh wow.
Bring it on.
Wow.
So
because that's something else that Richard was talking about, that like a lot of the action that's brought against people, civil action, is voted on by the commissioners. There's like 5 of them that vote. And at the moment, like there's 2 people who vote against a lot of stuff because they don't believe in it, but like they've still got like 3 that are voting for it. So if Gensler was gone and he was replaced with someone who was more forward thinking, more progressive in their thinking when it comes to, I'm going to be careful with that word progressive thinking when it comes to, but in this what I'm talking about right now, I mean, just like thinking about crypto in the sort of way that we think about it, which is not the norm, you know? So if he was replaced with someone who thought about crypto in a different way, then maybe that would be good. Maybe there'd be less, useless lawsuits.
Yes, less frivolous ones. Yeah, it's getting out of control. I just noticed a comment here from V. What's the best way to watch Thos in Oz? I still think Google Play is the best way. You've got to use a VPN, I've heard, and you create a Google account where you basically set a US address, and then you verify it using you can use a regular mobile, and then you can just use Google Play. But yeah, VPN is generally the go. But yeah, we can go through that, in greater detail if someone else wants to know. What else we got? Oh yeah, he's definitely showing more confidence in calling Gary Gensler out by name, like in that video. I think he did a really good job of, pointing out some of the double standards that Gary Gensler has and, the SEC, while also not ever at one point referring to his own subpoena that the SEC have got against him, because presumably he still has never been served, so he's unaware of it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So he did a really good
job.
job.
He's been scrubbing up, can't you? You can tell he's been scrubbing up on all of his law stuff and really getting into the nitty gritty.
Everything about the law, everything about all the precedents, all the cases, all what SEC has been up to, but he never mentioned any charges against him from the SEC. So presumably he's never been served. So he's unaware of those charges. That's what I'm taking away from that. So
yeah.
I'm guessing we're going to wait till January 30th to see what that hearing has to say. But sounds like he still hasn't been served. What's that old? Do you remember that show? Are You Being Served or whatever?
Are you being served? Yes.
And there was always that double entendre that old duck was always talking about her pussy, about her pussy cat. And she was always like, "Oh my, never." It's like, I don't know, some British. Oh my god, it was pretty terrible.
That was like Benny Hill era. I used to love Benny Hill when I was a kid. I used to love Benny Hill.
Hoping to see a glimpse of some wet t-shirt or something. That was always a depraved show, that Benny Hill.
I used to love it as a kid. It was just the perfect like innocent type. I don't know. You can't. Obviously, young, so
you were just
they were reruns for sure, bro. They weren't the originals. But there was like at a time. Can you imagine? Like they were on at like kids viewing. It's not like these things were on TV. When this is probably in the 80s.
That was before the internet.
And these things were on TV at like kid time. Like they were considered like shows that kids could watch because it was just a bit of fun, like ha ha ha. And can you imagine any of that stuff on TV now? Can you seriously? Can you imagine the outrage that would what would happen if that stuff was on TV?
Good point. Yeah. People would have a fit. But
would it be justified? That's the question. Would it be justified? Would that outrage be justified?
Much more dangerous places nowadays, like kids Netflix and YouTube, than all the stuff that was on back then. I reckon it's just,
like how much damage is it actually do? How much damage is it actually? Would it actually be doing? That's the real question. How much damage would it actually be doing?
Look, I mean, my motto with that sort of stuff is like, you don't have to watch it. Like if you don't like Benny Hill and you think it's a bit sexist or whatever, then don't watch it. So and don't let your kids watch it if you don't think it's appropriate. So you
I guess the concern would be that you're turning little boys into chauvinistic pigs. Yeah.
I watched it and I wouldn't call myself a chauvinist pig, so I don't know.
I agree.
Shows like that. I used to watch, we used to watch like Predator and, all sorts of like full violent movies as children, and just people just get like Arnie movies and stuff. people are just getting like gunned down, like Commando, Rambo, all this sort of stuff. And we're just
Dude,
like,
when I was in primary
yeah.
school, I never got to watch any like horror movies or stuff when I was a kid. Like my parents were just, apart from
Oh,
the
it was
fact
more
we didn't,
action.
yeah, but we didn't have a VCR or like when I was like early 80s, like, you know,
Okay.
it wasn't a priority, right? So I remember going to a mate's house in primary school, would have been maybe grade 3 or grade 4. And I remember him saying, oh my, like pleading with his mum if he could watch, if we, as in me and him, could go and watch what was it? It was a Freddy Krueger movie. The
Oh,
Freddy Krueger one.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah,
Nightmare on Elm Street. And that was like, he just had that video at his house, and we're talking grade 3, grade 4, and he could just like watch it, but his mum like pulled out the veto card and just said no, because she didn't want to didn't want to make that call of me watching it. But like, think about that, dude. Nightmare on Elm Street.
That was pretty intense, I must admit, because it was, the thing about it was that it would get you in your dreams. Like Freddy Krueger would get you in your dreams. So like, in terms of kids having nightmares, like that is just the ultimate, you know. Oh, bloody fire in here. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I watched some pretty terrible horror when I was a kid, because my parents used to watch it, and yeah, traumatized the shit out of me. So yeah, just anyway, I just, you know, you just walk it off, take it like a champ, and
walk it off.
Know, it's like, what can you do? You know, you watch some movie. I remember watching Jaws when I was like 5 or something, and just being like, you know. Goodness. And I'm like, but I still swim at the beach, you know. So
Jaws is a more sort of legit thing. Like, you could justify Jaws. You know what I mean? Like, I could justify watching Jaws from the perspective of like, okay, people have been bitten in half by great white sharks. It has happened. It happens. Continues to happen.
Like, every time I get in the water now, it's like,
it's I feel like it's okay to be traumatized by something that, like, that's just learning. It's okay, a shark can bite you in half.
Nah,
yeah, that's a real thing that can happen.
You don't have like sharks with grudges that are like chasing down people, like hunting them, like because they're just like, sharks are just animals. Like, they're just, you know, I don't think.
I've never actually
the idea of Jaws that they're like malicious, that they're like.
I've never watched it in its. I've never watched it in its entirety. I've only ever watched like bits and pieces of it. I've never watched it in its entirety. I felt like I got the general gist of it from what I saw.
I get it. There's Jaws. I get it. Don't get bitten in half. Yep. Nah, look, I mean, I just think they really unfairly like painted sharks in a malicious light. Like they're quite nefarious. They're just hunting you down, like waiting for you to like make the wrong move. It's like, they're just animals, man. They're just going around like chomping on shit. Is this a tire? Oh, that's not good. What's this? A whale? Oh, yeah. What's this? A surfboard? That's no good. What's this? A human? Too bony. Like, they're not like they're just, you know. Anyway, that's how I think of it. I don't think they're being like, you know,
they've got to dramatize it somehow.
Yeah. The way they do the whole music, and it's like one of them had a grudge. There's like Jaws 2, where it's like the son of Jaws or whatever, like daughter of, you know, they've got the mum and it's coming back like for revenge. It's like, wow. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
But like, no, but that's, see, I still feel like Jaws is like a legit like horror movie that you could watch, compared to Nightmare on Elm Street, which is just some random nonsense about a guy with a glove with knives on it, and he's killing people in his sleep. Like, that is just nonsensical. Like, nonsensical. Like, there's no sense in the damage you're doing to a kid's psyche. But, you know, there's no sense to that. Whereas if a kid sees Jaws, he might stay away from like the water where he could get bitten by a shark, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I thought Nightmare on Elm Street was funny, though, I must admit, and I think it might be, though, because have you seen that Rick and Morty episode where there's like a Nightmare on Elm Street, like Rick and Morty, and they go into like, they do like an Inception thing where they go inside Freddy Krueger's dreams.
I think I have seen this. Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah,
funny.
I think I have.
And he's like, he
Yep.
keeps calling everyone bitch. And it's like Freddy Krueger, and he's having like nightmares of being like in maths class and shit, and he doesn't know all the how to do the maths, and then like they befriend him, like they do like this Inception thing where they befriend Freddy Krueger in Freddy Krueger's dreams, and then like they get him to come and like fuck everyone else's shit up. Like, yeah, it's pretty funny. Anyway,
I'm gonna go back and watch Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty it's hilarious. Hilarious show.
It is. Oh, so good. I should probably try and bring this back to crypto, as I like to do. Bam, PulseChain ecosystem. The Pulse coin list guys are pretty busy. Like, they've been cooking. So they've got this site here, this tab which basically shows all these projects that are going on PulseChain. And you know, these are the guys that have got that bridge buddy thing going as well. So that's the idea, the way you know, if you bridge in some wrapped ETH or whatever, and you don't have any pulse for gas, then you just get like 1,000 pulse to be able to do that first swap. So yeah, shout out to Pulse Coin List. They have some cool shit going on, and you know, you can look. They got crypto bubbles. They got the gas metrics, so you can be like, you know, because there was an issue with the gas the other day. You can be looking at this sort of stuff. The burn, PLS burn. They've even got, you know, the PRC 20 to ERC 20. Where is it? Oh, it's around here somewhere. Oh, this is just. Oh, they used to have a tab here where you could check both of them. Maybe it's been a while since I've seen it. But yeah, so you used to be able to compare the ERC20s and PRC20 versions of each other. Oh, here we go. For some reason, the tab is gone, but it's down here. So this comparison here, I thought was really cool because you could go along and say you're looking at like Hedron. Oh, now that I've talked it up, I can't see it. There it is. So Hedron is whatever it is, 60142 on Ethereum, and then 606 on PulseChain.
Yeah,
sorry,
cool.
6016. So there's a 12.65% differential between, you know, the two versions of Hedron. So you know how Alex is going to be doing those HMIs, and so he's going to be upgrading the HSI contracts, and then so with the auctions, you know, you're going to be able to bid on these HMIs. Like we're talking Quattro Cinco stakes with like a whole bunch of T shares. You're going to be able to bid on them on PulseChain using the E Hedron.
Yeah.
So
and it'll have the same value as
they should have the same value.
Well, it doesn't matter about the value, but it's one Hedron is one Hedron, whichever chain
Exactly.
it's on. Yeah.
Exactly. One Hedron is one Hedron in terms of its purchasing power on the HMI stake auctions on PulseChain. So really, you know, if you were going to use some Hedron to buy you know, some stakes on that auction sort of marketplace, then knowing that there's a 12% differential, you might then want to buy more E Hedron or whatever, or swap your P Hedron for E Hedron while you can.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's things like that, you know, it's just sometimes it's interesting to know the difference. I know Wrapped BTC is actually one of the PRC 20s that's been doing quite well. I mean, the percentage here is obviously really, really low, but where is it? Yeah, 99.76%. But the actual dollar value of the rat BTC, like the forked copy, is actually pretty good. But yeah, we have to somehow, you know, for PulseChain to really start to take off, we have to somehow get people to start bridging in ERC20s, pairing them with PRC20s, and, you know, incentivize them to sort of start using their copies on the PulseChain side. Oh,
Yeah.
I've
Do you think there's going to be something that happens with the ink farms at some point to help incentivize that? Because I don't know if the community is going to be able to incentivize it as much as, you know, eventually
yes,
that.
I agree. I seem to have lost your picture, Hex Enthusiast.
Yeah, I'm working on that. Sorry.
That's cool. That's cool. And 43OG, can you hear me okay? He may have gone.
Yeah, I'm listening, mate. I'm listening.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, so I think if we can increase the ink emissions in the farms, that will go a long way to you know, encouraging people to bridge in their ERC20s and pair them with PRC20s. So yeah, I don't know if that's something that, you know, how there was going to be a potential DAO where you could vote on proposals and things like that. That's something that I think is really important, would be to increase the ink emissions to favor some of these other, you know, PRC20 farms. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I'd be for. So that would be voting with PulseX. PulseX
Yeah,
votes,
so
right?
voting with PulseX, you know, on how to, you know, which farms to incentivize the most in terms of emissions of ink. Because yeah, it would, I think Richard started off, there was rat BTC, like the P rat BTC in the farms, and then they eventually pulled it. But there could be other farms with other PRC20s. And if they're incentivized, it would encourage people to bridge in their ERC20s and pair them with the PRC20s, which I think is the, you know, one of the value props of PulseChain. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's I feel like, yeah, it's one of those things that I was thinking more about that sort of stuff before Pulse launched, and ever since it's launched, it just seems like, I don't know, it just seems like it's not the most important thing right now. It just feels like no, I don't, and I don't. Sorry, that probably came out wrong. It's
no, it's all good.
no, it's as important as ever, mate. It's just I just haven't spent any time considering it since before Pulse even launched. But yeah, it's yeah. I mean, what would you guys choose to be? Like, what would you be voting for if you had votes in that system?
Yeah, I guess you'd have to see which, you know, communities you know, are struggling with the ETH gas fees, and then see if they were sort of amenable to you know, bridging in and using their copies on PulseChain, because it really benefits them. Like, it benefits their community if they're getting chopped up using Ethereum gas.
So what would be some good
unusable?
So what would be good, like Decentraland?
Yeah, I guess gaming stuff, I would have thought. I'm sure there's quite a few. I mean, yeah, and you'd have to make sure that they're ERC20s and things like that. But like, you know, Gala, Sand, whatever those other ones are. There's a bunch of gaming tokens.
What about Chainlink? Chainlink?
I don't know if people use Chainlink on Ethereum, and they're struggling with the gas. Like I don't know if I know how Chainlink works in terms of oracles, but I don't know what the people are using the token for.
Well, I mean, that would be the reason. It's because just to bring awareness in the Chainlink community to PulseChain, and also perhaps them to sort of provide Oracle services to PulseChain as well. Like it would be more, it'd be more about that, just like bringing awareness rather than PulseChain. Sorry, not PulseChain, but rather than Chainlink holders needing an alternative place to trade their tokens.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Just more about the awareness.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Shout out to Hexadelic. Hey folks, what's happening? I just drank 555 beers and now riding a kangaroo back from the pub. That is the spirit. That is definitely the spirit. There was actually a couple of other things I wanted to quickly chat about. One was there was this JP Morgan comment during the week. I don't know if you saw this. So this could have just been like one of the JP Morgan, like, analysts. But for some reason, JP Morgan warned that it was too early to be getting excited about the resurgence of decentralized finance and NFT activity, while noting the encouraging rise of new DeFi chains such as yada yada and PulseChain. So there was some mention of PulseChain. So JP Morgan presumably knows we exist. I mean,
that's
I don't really care.
where'd you find that? Was that a Twitter? Did someone post it on Twitter?
Yeah, someone posted it on Twitter. And JP Morgan does these things. They talk all the time and about, each month or whatever. And they're betting that Ether is going to outperform Bitcoin in 2024. I mean, it certainly got absolutely hammered in the ETH Bitcoin ratio in 2023. So maybe, but interesting that they actually mentioned PulseChain as one of the, resurgence of DeFi. I thought that was pretty cool.
So good. I reckon we'll be seeing a lot more of that coming up eventually.
That's an amazing comment for them to make.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm just wondering, where can I find that? What could I type into Google to find that?
Oh, you could literally just I found actually multiple. I found a Yahoo Finance version, which was the same exact article that was where the hell is it? Oh, here we go. So basically all you got to look for is JP Morgan, PulseChain, but yeah, this one is zycrypto.com. I found a few. They'd basically taken this.
I just found that. Yeah.
Phrase, and it was on Yahoo Finance. It was on a whole bunch of different sites, and it was.
Is that the article that's why Ether will drastically outperform Bitcoin in 2024? Yes, is it that one?
That's the one. Yep. Okay. And it got rehashed by a bunch of different things, and they talk about the halving is priced in. I like how everyone thinks that everything is always priced in. Like, halving priced in, Christmas priced in. People are going to be selling their how at the end of the financial year, sometimes people like sell their bags so that they have a clean start to the new year for the new financial year. Priced in. So they can they sell them and then they rebuy them so that they can lock in any losses and offset any gains type exactly
thing.
Yeah. So it's that's a good theory. I like that. Coming towards the last trading day of the year, people will lock in their losses and things, and then come January 1 or whatever, they buy it back. So you might see a dip on the last couple of years, but then just the idea that anyone has any idea ever, and it's but it's priced in, bro. As in exactly. That's why it won't happen. Is because it's already everything's not priced in. I'm sorry. Some things are, but there are things that actually happen that are not priced in.
Yeah.
But it's just such a like get out of jail free card. Like you just get priced in.
Yeah, it's like if something's not performing, the price isn't performing right.
Yeah. Richard streamed the other day. We haven't had him stream for ages. We were hoping that he streamed and then the price was going to pump. He streamed, priced in, bro.
Yeah,
didn't pump.
That's why we didn't pump.
It's like that's just retrofitting like an idea to why it didn't happen, because your idea initially was wrong, and then you just claimed that it was right all along. It's just that it was priced in.
I would like to read the original article, because I'm just looking through this, and I'd like to read the original JP Morgan comments.
Yeah,
that's quoting. That seems to be quoting. Too early to be getting excited. That's the only quote, and the word encouraging are the only things being quoted, and the rest seems to be paraphrasing. Whether or not it's paraphrasing, or whether it's just the article writer putting those into the article themselves. I haven't read it in.
Yes,
I haven't gone deep enough.
I agree. And I looked at the author of the article and I was thinking, had this person got PulseChain bags? And they just inserted that, like, because it wasn't actually in the quote. And then I was like,
good play, son.
JP Morgan's site. I was like, yes, well done to you, ma'am. Actually, I think. And then I looked on the JP Morgan site. Apparently, it was some report they did on the 13th, and yada yada yada. And I got bored. So, by all means, if you can find the original comments, that would be cool. But it's like, there is a point where it's like I kind of care that JP Morgan knows that we exist, but I also kind of like, fuck JP Morgan, you know.
No, but I agree. You know what? I agree wholeheartedly with you on that one. It's like, fuck JP Morgan. But you know what? do you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say that whenever you have some normie, like say, you know, X, Y, Z negative thing about crypto, you can just then turn around and say, well, since you're just such a JP Morgan type ass licker, they said actually ABC.
True. Now you can say, well, actually, traditional finance does know about PulseChain, and here is the article. True. Like, no, I think that pretty much covers it. It's priced in. I was going to chat about some other cool shit. Oh, I should probably shout out the chat.
Base Radian's in the house.
Oh, Base Radian.
Man.
What's up,
Base Radian?
Hope you had a good crimbo, mate. How was your crimbo? Hope it was good. I've said crimbo about 45 times since I heard of it last Friday. I was like,
I'm thinking of starting my own crimbo tradition ever since last week.
Hey, look, I started a crimbo tradition. This is legit. I was like, you know how you always get you know how you always get roped into doing the Christmas tree? Like, I don't know why. It's just like, I don't know. I always get roped into doing it. Many years ago, I was like, I will do the Christmas tree, but I need a bottle of champagne and whatever else. And it was like, so every year I drink a bottle of champagne while putting the Christmas tree up. Like, not by myself, like with my wife, but it's like, I'm not putting the Christmas tree up unless there's champagne involved. So you just make your own traditions.
100%.
There we go. Here we go. Toppest of crimbos. The toppest of crimbos. Thank you for that. And yes, Ash. G'day, Ash. Old money. Please make us billionaires. Thank you.
Yes, please.
I appreciate that sentiment.
Hey, I've got a question. We sort of touched on Christmas before, but a quick question. What was the favorite thing that you guys, not necessarily personally got, but the best Christmas thing? Like, you know, if there was a gift or something, or a family gift
that I can show gratitude for. I mean, the RH video was pretty good.
Yeah.
But
not bad.
But not really what I'm I'm asking like, you know,
No.
what did you get from like Santa, aka the savings account that you know, JB Hi-Fi, like or wherever you went?
I got myself a Hyperflex lift kit for our 4-wheel drive. So I've been smashing my knuckles, putting that in the past few days. So that was
What
good.
what is that? Could you explain what that is?
So like to lift the car up higher, like 4-wheel drive. I got a troop carrier,
Yep.
you know, the Land Cruiser Troopies. So so to lift that up higher, and so the axles flex a lot better when you're 4-wheel driving, so you can keep traction to the ground and keep stable better while you're off-road, basically. So
that's cool.
some cars, you know, that the wheels don't go very high up into the arches or drop very low, but this makes it, you know, really, you know, almost look like the suspension's really soft, where they sort of lean over when you turn.
Nice.
But when you're 4-wheel driving
awesome.
slowly, they articulate really well. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's an expensive piece of kit, but been saving for a while. And the old suspension is all shot, so it was needing to be done anyway.
Yep. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Is that something you that you did? You did that yourself? You put that in yourself?
Yeah, putting it in myself. Yeah, battling away. So it's good fun. I used to have a hoist and like a good setup, but moving house and that sort of stuff a good while ago. Back to basics now, doing it on the ground and getting all sore laying on the ground, but it's all right. Don't do it often these days. So
awesome. Yep. Sounds like fun, bro.
How about you?
Making some jokes. I didn't really get much, bro. Like, to be fair, like my kids got so much shit. I just got them so many presents. It's just out of control. I don't know. I don't really need anything, you know, so I don't really buy myself shit, to be honest. You know, my wife got all sorts of things, like heaps of stuff. And then I was just like, what do I actually want? So yeah, I might get like some more hardware stuff, because I want to computer hardware stuff. So just have that running in the background, you know, validator type stuff and things like that. So but I don't really get myself anything, to be honest.
That'd be cool.
So, sounds like a 4 terabyte NVMe SSDs on the cards at some point.
yeah. Well, when does Feeder start shipping those validators to Australia? And then I'll just build my own. I'll build my own stuff. So.
Yeah, of course you build your own.
Yeah. It's just that sort of stuff. Like, you know, that's sort of what I've been having my eye on. But also, running scripts and things like that, like continuously. And then so it'd be nice to have a couple of things running in the background. Yeah. How about yourself, man? Did you get anything cool?
So we're sort of the same as what you like we don't really buy Christmas stuff for each other, because it just seems like a waste of our time and money, because whenever we need something, we just like when we actually need something, we just sort of go out and get it when we need it. So but just so that we had something to open under the tree, like around the family, like I got myself some shaving gear stuff, you know, stuff I would have bought anyway another time. I just went and just got that and put that in the bag. And my wife got some perfume and stuff. But the one thing that I got, which I think was that went out and got, was the best thing, I think. And I know that, like, you know, we're not supposed to play video games and all that sort of stuff. But I actually enjoy playing Mario Kart with my kids. It's a lot of fun.
Who doesn't?
So
that's classic.
Yeah, exactly. Look, and I've played every single iteration of Mario Kart that's ever existed. I've played every single one, and I only just learned how to power slide properly. Dude, it's ridiculous. I don't know how. So this is the thing,
Do
right?
you even Mario Kart, bro?
No, and well, apparently not. But I only learned how to power slide. But when I say power slide now, I am because I got so good at playing without power sliding. I think I learned how to I just went. I'm an extreme non-power slide player. Like I'm very, very good at playing
Here we go.
without the power slide. So
State champ
no, but
of
listen,
Mario Kart.
now,
Yeah.
no, but listen. Now that I've like worked the power sliding into the game, I'm beating everyone by so much. Like it's crazy.
Power slides for the win, bro. That's how you do it. You just power slide everywhere you go. Ash is literally playing Mario with the kids right now.
Yeah. So we what we actually got is we've had a Switch for I think a couple of years, but I just got an extra couple of controllers. So now we can play 4-player Mario Kart, and that's a new dynamic.
Nice.
That's killer.
That's very
good
cool.
work.
And that's it's good fun. It's good fun. It really is good fun with the playing with the kids. Love it.
You'll be state champ Mario Kart in no time.
Oh, you know what else we got? We got the booster pack for the extra. You know the booster pack that you get for the other. You know how they've got the extra courses.
Right.
Kind of.
Like an extension. Yeah.
So you can get the booster pack. It's like $40.
That's killer. Do you remember with another? Sorry. No, I was going to say that the old Nintendo 64s used to get the Rumble packs. That was old school.
Hell yeah!
Chucking the Rumble pack in.
The Rumble pack that used to go into the controllers and make the controllers shake. Yeah. The old early haptic feedback back in the day.
There's lots of
so
fun.
that was good.
I used to smash that as well, the old Mario Kart. And yeah, my daughter plays it on she's got a Nintendo Switch, and so she's like, "Oh yeah, Dad," and I'm like, "Hand it over. Let me show you how to play. I'll show you how to power slide over here."
Very good.
But yeah, I was just gonna say a couple of things. You know how we talked about block blend? It's so easy to say block bend, but it's block blend. We talked about it last week because we were talking about that privacy bridge.
Yep.
Remember that? We're talking about that. And so apparently now they have this thing where you can have PulseChain Visa cards. So it's effectively a fiat off-ramp, if I'm understanding that correctly. So
very cool.
Probably not a big deal at the moment because we're doing the opposite. We're sort of buying up PulseChain in the hope that one day it's going to perform well or like take off. But if you were looking a way to exit, this might be a way of doing it, and presumably it's a pseudo anonymous way of doing it as well because you
have skeptical hippo eyes on anything like this, dude.
I know.
Like,
I knew you would.
Please.
You would. And that's fair enough.
So you're gonna that someone out there, some server out there has info about your addresses with PulseChain in it, and it's going to be connected. It's like they're going to have the info on that connection to a credit card, and you're going to use it as like a way to avoid. Like
I'm not
people
saying
would use it as no, but if it's no. What I guess the point, what I'm saying is that the implication is that would be a way to off ramp anonymous. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm skeptical.
Well, I disagree. Like, because anytime you use like a credit card or a MasterCard, like it's going to flag everything under the sun, your IP, everything. So, but and presumably you have to put in your details in the credit card. So I mean, it does sort of say.
So how anon is it really?
States. Oh, look, I'm not really suggesting it for that reason. And if people did want to do it for that reason, then they can, you know, look into it themselves. But I was more just sort of saying, like, you know, if you, rather than going to an exchange, it's just another way. But yeah, you can check it out. You know, you do have to put in an email. You can use Proton Mail or whatever. There's a whole bunch of steps that you have to go through to put in.
You would assume, you would just assume that it's maybe it's not KYC, right? Maybe they're not asking for you to take a selfie and all that sort of stuff.
That's my understanding. Yeah,
I would still treat it. You know, I wouldn't suggest that anyone use it under the pretense that you're going to be anonymized and you can just go use it. And just assume that you whatever you spend, like if you were needing to spend, like, pay tax on it, you'll still need to pay tax. Like, I would.
Oh yeah. Of course you need to pay tax. And so they do. I mean, I've never used this, right? I've never used this bridge. But they do talk about how, you know, by utilizing their liquidity, and then there's a time element to it. So it's sort of you can enjoy the benefits of anonymity, token conversion without the KYC procedures or centralized exchange. So, and it also seems to have some sort of escrow thing, which isn't on their website. So I like that, because sometimes when people have these bets on social media, and it's like, you don't want to trust that someone's going to say, you know, like I think Eric Wall and KDP, like if they, whatever that bet is, they offer, you know, Eric always says, look, we could put our money in escrow, so you know that the bet is good. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you should trust.
Is it what bet? What bet's that? I know Eric Wall had one with HVID.
He made the same. Yeah, HVID. Yeah, he made the same bet with or similar bet with KDP as well, I think, which was like, you know, what I don't know the details. It's like, you know, if PulseChain does a 10x in the first year, then it's like 50 grand or something. Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a pretty good bet at the time, but now it's not so much.
Well, a 10x could be from the low, right? So how low did
I don't know the terms of the bet? Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, it's pretty straightforward. Did it do a 10? Does it do a 10x? A 10x is a 10x, so that would be from the low to the high. You could count from the low to the high.
He may have put conditions in. This isn't Eric Wall's first rodeo. Like he might have put in conditions where it was like 10x from the launch price or from SAC price or whatever.
Right.
Also, one thing I noticed that Eric does, which is a reason why don't make bets with Eric, kids, because all he does is he buys a bag and then he puts it on leverage, and then he goes, if the price does a 10x, then he owes you 50 grand. But meanwhile, he's just made like 100 grand. Yeah. So he pays you the 50 grand and he makes 50 grand. And then if he loses the bet, he makes 50 grand. So in both scenarios, he wins. Like he's obviously, you know, he's not stupid. So he's done these bets with lots of people, but people they're like, I'll bet you. And it's like, bro, just stop. Like, he's not losing these bets because he puts leverage on, and even with a small amount of money, he would have enough to make it so that even if he paid you out, he's still making money. So just don't bet, Eric. And in general, like, stop. People should stop making bets with crypto. But if you're going to do it, you see the state champion in betting.
But it's not even. Yes,
he's got those tungsten cubes. You know, he keeps betting all these people tungsten cubes and stuff.
And it's not even the leverage thing isn't even like required. Like, think about it. If it doesn't do a 10x, that means the price of Pulse is low, and the person who loses has to pay him when the price of Pulse is low. And then if it does a 10x, it's like, he pays like he's paying you when the price of Pulse is high, which means that, you know, like even if he didn't put leverage on, if he just
he only has to buy
exactly.
like $1,000 worth of hex, and it does a 10x, and then so he's got sorry, if he puts in 10 grand and then he gets a 10x, gets 100 grand, he pays you out.
Yep.
So it's only going to cost him a minimum 10 grand. It's not going to cost him 50 grand in that scenario.
Yep.
But then, yeah, I'm sure he probably does it with leverage as well or something. So he does this all the time. He's a serial troll. People don't understand. It's like he is trolling. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a troll. I just want to quickly shout out this Hex Track. I don't know if you guys saw this, hextrack.app. It is a way of, so it's a little bit, you know, it's not quite as nice as like Hex Scout and that sort of stuff in terms of like portfolio trackers. But it does seem to be able to basically set up like a very basic, you know, you put in the price of the token, and then how much of the token you put in, you know, your buy price or whatever, and then it tracks like your average buy, and then maybe just charts like, you know, your portfolio ratios, a few things like that. But anyway, I saw that during the week and I was like, why not? But yeah, Hex Scout, I think really is
cool.
Probably one of the best ones going around.
My favorite is, I think, as far as portfolio trackers, I think GoPulse is pretty pretty good.
Yeah, GoPulse is awesome. These guys are cooking all the time. You just go to portfolio. They've got the faucet as well. They've got the bubbles. Oh, this is cool. They've got the PRC20s in the bubbles now. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, I heard that you can pop them and stuff. Oh, diamonds. Okay, interesting. I saw that there's a bunch of stuff going on with the Tang Gang. They've got some Enigma diamond mine sort of thing going on as well. I always check out this like more for, you know, Free Mint Fridays coming up today. But yeah, they seem to have some sort of liquidity play thing going on, where it's like, you know how you can use the pussycat farms and you can like farm OG or whatever. If you use, I think it's Rentamania, and then you can farm these Enigma tokens, and then if you pair the Enigma and the OG on like a 9 mil V2 pool, like if you stake like the LP tokens, then you can get some 9 mil thing. I don't know. Check out Bullish and those guys if you want to keep up with that stuff. But they're cooking as they always do. What else we got here? Erica, ideal woman is a garden gnome. That's the only thing that would listen to his bullshit. Okay, there you go. Klaus has some strong opinions on Erica Wall. Is there anything else you guys wanted to chat about, or should we wrap it up?
Just talking about that card that you were mentioning with Block Blend. There's another one I saw using Coast. You use Wise to on-ramp. So you send directly to Wise bank account, and then from there it goes to another bank account. So anyway, Wise have a credit card as well, or, you know, a MasterCard type thing. So just in the way of hedging, you know, if centralized exchanges go down or anything while we hit a bull run, it might be a good idea, if you're not after the anonymity of it all necessarily on certain wallets or whatever, it might be worth getting some of these cards just in case it's the only way to on-ramp at the time, or 2 out of 3 go down, and it's the only way, might just be good to hedge your bets with them. So that's what I'm doing with a few different ways, and just, you know, keeping a few centralized exchanges up your belt if you can, in case they're the only ones you can off ramp with. I don't know, just what I've been having and sort of
I think
doing a little bit
good
of.
idea. So, I think it's great to see all these different communities and things sort of building on PulseChain and coming up like Block Blend with this, you know, whatever credit card thing, Coast guys, the fiat on ramps, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff. So that's one amazing thing about
that's it,
you know, PulseChain and Hex. It's these guys, everyone's building. You know, Richard talks about wanting to have a bot that gives people, you know, gas to make a swap when they bridge in. Bam, within like 2-3 days, there's like 3 different teams building faucets, and it's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. So good.
Yeah. How about you, 43? Did you have any final thoughts?
No, just wish everyone a good end of year and a fantastic 2024. Let's, you know, fingers crossed that we have some you know, positive price action in 2024. I think that's what everyone is really hanging out for. We've really stuck through the tough times of the bear market, and you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum seem to be well on their way up. We're not quite, you know, we are, but not, you know, not in the same way, like not in the way that we'd like. So hopefully 2024 is a great year for everyone in the ecosystem. They if they've been here for 2+ years, you definitely deserve anything that good that comes from the chart going up. So that's it.
For sure.
Agreed.
For sure. Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the charts, and without bringing them up and sort of boring people to tears and things like that, the things that I look for, you know, on the daily, but also on the weekly, I've noticed that, you know, the 10-week moving average is above the 20 is above the 50, and now even like 50 is starting to be above the 200 and things like that. And the price is above all of them. So like, we're really getting that sort of, you know, just uptrend vibe across the whole, you know, crypto sort of currency sphere, however you look at it. And I think that'll start to pull up, you know, with all the liquidity bonding that's going on. Everything will start to go up a bit more. There's bound to be some pullbacks and things. And just, you know, you got to be a little bit careful with some of these ones, like Solana, for example. I had a look, and if you look at even the top 10 coins on Solana, the volume is super high, but the liquidity is not. So if you look at the liquidity paints a picture, and it's like sometimes there's like 10 times the volume than there is liquidity, and like 5 times the volume, daily volume, 3 times the daily volume that there is actual total liquidity. And if you compare that to PulseChain, it's quite the opposite. So there's heaps of liquidity on PulseChain for, you know, the main assets that we're talking about, you know, the 3 and the flag behind me. But you know, some of these low liquidity things, and you know, there's rugs, there's all sorts of things. So just be careful out there with some of this stuff. But yeah, I hope everyone has a great New Year's and a safe New Year's. And I'm looking forward to the Hex conference, which is coming up. Maddie Allen is running that. So that should be awesome. So keep an eye out for that whenever that is. I think the 5th of Jan or something.
Yep. You guys going to be on it?
Yeah. I think I'm going to be on it for a bit. So I haven't heard the schedule.
Yep. But, I should be on. I haven't seen this. I haven't seen it either, but I should be on.
Yeah.
It should be good. I got like a message about it, and I said if they need someone on a panel to talk some shit, I'm happy to
awesome.
go on as well.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. No, it'd be cool.
Yeah. Sounds awesome.
Awesome.
Man. Sounds
awesome.
Cool. Okay, cool. Yeah. Enjoy your New Year's, and check out Klaz's stream with Stokesy tomorrow. And I'll catch you guys all next week. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for coming.
Thanks,
in
guys.
And,
cheers,
a
Hex
good
enthusiasts. Dozer. I'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
catch you
No worries.
guys.
Yeah.
See you later.